All right, this is the official behind the scenes video of our newest track, The Big O. Let's head on in. Okay, here we are inside the Big O. In this video, I'm going to go over a little bit about my idea behind the Big O, some difficulties that I have came across during the building process, which was a shit ton, and some of the things we're doing to fix those issues, some of the things we did to fix those issues along the way, and then some of the things that we still have planned for the Big O to get it running better for all of you, the diecast racing community, and all the viewers. All right, so my vision for this track stemmed from our original Rainier Rallycross track. When I built the Rainier Rallycross track, I had a vision that I wanted to build a track that did not look like it was fed by gravity. It did not look like the cars were going downhill. And to achieve that, what I did was I built the track at a steady grade, the Rainier Rallycross track at a steady grade. It's 18.5 feet long and in a straight line. And I built a slider that slid at the same angle as the track. And I turned the camera and followed the cars down. And when I straightened out that footage, it looked like the cars were going straight, even though they were actually going downhill. There was a couple problems with that. The cars get going faster and faster and faster and faster and faster and faster and faster because these cars are fast. These builders are building extremely fast cars, and regulating the speed was the biggest challenge in Rainier Rallycross and the Big O. In Rainier Rallycross, we built some obstacles like the big loops, the big 360s to slow the cars down to mitigate speed a little bit. Whereas as you know, our previous Rainier Rallycross was a straight line with 2 jumps, and those cars got going fast, as you saw in the Tired Truck Tournament. I wanted to take that concept and apply that to the Big O. I had this idea for a NASCAR track where the cars seemed like they were actually doing laps. And I started brainstorming, and I started with cardboard. And I can probably loop in some of these videos here to show you like my early prototypes. They might be vertical, but I'll throw some videos in here as well. So my early prototypes were cardboard. I said, how in the heck can I take the same it's not really technology, same concept as the Rainier Rallycross track and apply that to the Big O, which was an oval, right? So the first thing I thought was, you have to be inside of this thing. And that's exactly what I built. I built a room inside of my room. It's 14 feet long this way and 5.5 feet wide that way. And you saw at the beginning of the video, I have a spot where I crawl underneath it. So every time I get in and out of this thing, I crawl underneath it. And you guessed it, I filmed this by starting way up there at the start gate and spinning in a circle, or an oval, filming the cars. And same concept as Rainier Rallycross, where it's all a consistent grade all the way down. The straights are at an angle, and the turns are at the exact same angle. So even through the turns, when I'm filming at an angle, it looks like they're going flat all the way around. So that's step one. Step two was, in order for it to be fully symmetrical, like they were going around the same laps, I had to duplicate everything. That's why you'll see grandstands there, and a grandstands there, and there's grandstands up top in the top level. And over here, you'll see a pits, and then the same pits are up there. The sponsored track signs, all those teams are there, all those teams are down there, exactly duplicated. The clouds are in the exact same spot on both levels. They might be off a little bit, but I try to get them as close as possible. So after a lot of brainstorming, this vision came to life and I started building. And what did that look like? It meant building a box first, and I started framing it with 2x4s, and then I used these sheets of paneling. I think they were 1/8 inch thick paneling, super flexible. I put those up on the wall, reinforced them, and then built a box on the outside where I could curve the outside walls. So it's a semicircle on all two sides, on each end. And then came the hard part. The hard part was building out the inside of the track. Building out the inside of the track was by far the most complicated part of this. From cutting the turns, right? Because these platforms go the radius of the outside wood, as you see up there, and I had to cut those out and cut the depths out so we had a surface for the track to sit on. And fitting those in there is lots of cuts and refit and cuts and refit. So I finally got the shape right, and then I said, okay, how do we support this track? And you can see it's supported with a bracket every foot. So this track's about 60 feet long, 65 feet long in total, and there's a bracket every foot. It might be these smaller L brackets or it might be these bigger shelf brackets, and that holds up this track surface. It's all leveled, so the tracks are fully level, so the cars don't slide in. And the biggest problem I came across was lighting. You know, lighting is big, lighting is heavy. How do I light this thing inside of here? You can't put a softbox, here, because it'll just light below it. I need to light the whole entire thing. So I got some LED strip lights that were as bright as I can possibly find them. They're daylight balanced, and they do not flicker at 120 frames per second. And I think I have 4 50-foot strips in here. Maybe they're 100-foot. I don't know. There's a lot. As you can see underneath here, they're ran multiple times around inside the side of here. And still, I would like some more light. I think in the future, I'm gonna have to come up with another lighting solution, because when you're filming cars going incredibly fast, the more light the better, because your frame rates can be higher, which is less motion blur in the footage, which yields better quality. And from the beginning of Tiny Track Cars, me being a photographer and a videographer as my profession, I'm very much a stickler on production quality. Okay, and then when building out the angle, how much does this track drop? How do I fit loops inside of this box, right? I wanted to do a rolling start like NASCAR, which has never been done before ever in diecast history, as far as as far as I know. Along with this is the first ever loop oval that appears flat, and I think it blew people's minds when I launched the first video. A lot of comments, a lot of questions on how'd you do it? What's the trick? Are they crankback cars? Are they dropping in a ramp and you're pulling the ramp out and they're going around? How do they stay going? A lot of questions popped up, and so the hardest thing was, how much is this track going to drop to keep the cars going, so main lines can run in here, so modifieds can run in here. So I wanted to build this track. That's why the dual lane section's wider. I wanted to build this track that literally accepts anything. I want to run semi-trucks down it. I want to run trucks and trailers. I want to run Pixar cars. I want to run modified mail-ins. I want to run everything. So I built a track that can accept anything I throw at it, which was a fun challenge. Lots of testing, lots of experimentation. And once I started, these L brackets on the outside of these walls all have 2x4s running along in between the studs, because I needed a place to screw the brackets. So if I screwed it just to the paneling, they would sag. So on the outside of these, I had to run 2x4s around the whole entire thing to support the L brackets, which I picked an angle and I started building. And if my angle was off, if the track was too fast, or if the track was too slow, I was literally screwed, and I had to rip everything off and start over again. So getting it to the point where I'm now, people look at this track and say, hey, I don't like it because the cars are going too fast and they're out of control, or it's not exciting, or whatever the reason may be, but they don't see literally the blood, because I've cut myself, I've injured myself building this thing, cussed way too many times. I've sweat in here. I don't know if I've cried. So it's not blood, sweat, and tears. I've been sad a lot of disappointed days where I just gave up and came back the next day and said, it's a fresh start. Let's try this again. that's one thing I want to stress is like building this is been a project, and trust me when I say I want it to run the best as possible. So I'm open to criticism, but please let it be constructive criticism. Don't let it be, I'm trying so hard to get this thing to run perfect, and I want to show you some of the things we started with, and then some of the things we're changing to get it to run better, and hopefully to keep improving how the track handles as we go forward down the road. This is a good point to stop and talk about the single most important human being that made this track happen. You know, this outside of my crazy wild brain. I want to do the huge dedicated shout out to Russ at Spoolheads, because he has been absolutely amazing with taking my idea. And I told him, hey Russ, can I have a huge banked turn that multiple cars can run on the side? Oh yeah, and I need it to be 4.5 feet wide. And that just blew his mind. This track on my 3D printer, so Russ has designed it all for me. I 3D printed it all and assembled it, gave him feedback. He's changed designs. These track sections, it takes 8 track pieces to build the modular section for each corner. And there's 4 corners, 480-degree turns. That's not counting the in and out ramps, nor the straightaways. This is 100% 3D printed track. So Russ made my vision come to life. He's been amazing to work with, and we're still working on better in and out ramps to make it run smoother. It's been a cool process working with Russ. And this is going to be a little bit longer video because it's behind the scenes, and the true diehards are going to watch this. And this video is not meant to be for the person for the algorithm, right? It's meant to be like personal between the people who watch our channel. When I say our channel, it's always me. It's just me. So yeah, working with Russ has been amazing, and it's been really cool working with Russ, because not only are we designing, he's designing things that I want to see in my track, but I'm working with Russ to build things that he can offer through Spoolheads to other track hosts. Other things that he can offer the diecast community. So I know he's working with a couple other track builders with these bigger turns, these modular turns. This is a new groove system where it allows faster cars to go up on the walls, but it doesn't let them, it holds them from coming back down. So it's a one-way groove system. That's a first, I think, in diecast as well. So lots of innovation between mostly Russ, because he's the genius behind actually designing them. Sometimes I feel guilty because I'm like feeding all this information to Russ. I'm like, this needs to change, this needs to run better, and I love that he is so down to just take my feedback and keep making changes and making this track better. So huge thanks to Russ at Spoolheads. Go check out spoolheads.com. He's putting out some really sweet stuff for the diecast community. All right, now let's pull this off the tripod and let's start talking about the track. I'll give you a run around the track, and then we're going to talk about some changes that we are making to make this track run better. As I'm showing you around the track, I'll show you real time of things I've already changed out for new things to make the track run better. So here we go. All right, so the first thing we got, we're way up top here, is our Spoolhead start gate mounted underneath the track. It is all wireless, up, down, no left, right, just up, down. There's a start gate. Trucks roll. This is a start cam. They come, so on top of the illusion that this track is flat, because we're filming like this at an angle, we're also giving the illusion that the cars are rolling slow and accelerating out at the start line, which is all an illusion, right? Because they're starting here and they're rolling, they're picking up speed, but I do ultra slow motion and then I speed ramp it up at the start to make it look like they're accelerating out. I add the audio to further give the effect that they're accelerating. So this track right here was originally a thinner margin, a thinner center median, and there was no grooves in it, right? We added grooves, we thickened up the median, and the reason we thickened up the median was because this turn down here, hold on, let me get my step stool. This is above my head, so I have to stand on something. This dual lane opened up to open right here. And the cars from the outside were hitting this ramp and shoving it to the inside. Originally, these ramps were 3 pieces long, like the outs are, 1, 2, 3 pieces in the ramp. We ended up switching the in ramps out to 2 pieces because of that reason. The cars were bouncing to the inside because of this, and they were hitting in here and causing spin outs. So they're running much better, which you'll see in the next video, with a shorter in ramps, longer out ramps to prevent flipping. So the outside cars were pinching the inside cars, and that was the issue with our dual lane when we were running dual lanes, is the outside cars were coming down, pinching the inside cars. They were getting stuck because they didn't have enough speed in this first turn, and ended up bunching up, and then the outside front car ended up breaking loose from the pack, and the pack would stay bunched up, and I'd be filming one car down the whole track by itself, and it was super boring. So that's why we started the Super Truck Tournament in single file fashion, because they ran better like that, right? During that process, I was still working with Russ on some new ideas. My original idea was to take this whole banked turn and flatten it out, which is a lot of design work for us, and we're still might do that in the future, but not right now. Instead, we added a median to keep the cars apart from each other and allow them to get more speed. So when they enter this turn, the outside trucks hold up on the wall higher and don't pinch the inside cars, and they're running much better. You still get a little bit of drag against this median here. However, there's the inside lane advantage, just like you would have on any track with uneven lanes. So what happens is that they come down, this lane kind of gets half a car ahead, this lane follows in behind it, and they all start racing together, and it actually racing really nice. So this is a huge improvement, and it's going to allow us to run dual lanes in the future, which you'll see in future videos. All right, just a quick track tour. We have the start, grandstands number 1, big bank turn number 1. So there's actually 280-degree turns in here, but I call them turn 1 back there and turn 2 over there because it looks like turn 1 and turn 2 when you're filming. So we come around here, then we have the National Super Truck sponsor that'll come out and be switched with the next tournament decals. We have our pit area, which, as you know me, there's all Porsches there. This is a tricky subject because when the cars are racing, there's nobody in the pits, right? But when there's no one in the pits, it's ugly. Like, right? There needs to be detail here. So there's cars here, right? For looks of the shot, right? Come down here, more haulers, and then there's your spool heads official banner there. Huge thanks again to Russ. We come around and you come right back to the grandstands. Then you go around to turn 3, which looks like turn 1 again, and then back around past the pits. And we just added a camera there in turn 4. We'll eventually add some more cameras in these turns to get more coverage for you. Unfortunately, it's really hard to get coverage in the straights because we can't put anything right here, right? Because you'd be in front of the camera when filming, or if you put it in here, it's in my way. So the only other option is to put it up here and aim it straight down. You get coverage like that, and you don't get the whole turn. And that adds 4 more cameras, 1, 2, 3, 4 to the whole track. All right, so you come around here, and then you come to the finish line, and then the cars run off into that padded box. All right, we're back on the tripod here. All right, so first big improvement was switching out the in-ramps back to so the original track was 2 ramp long in-ramps on in and out. We extended them to 3 because the out ramps were having some flipping issues. They were dropping elevation too fast, so we extended them, which made the in ramps perform worse. Now the two ramp ins are in, 3 ramps out are in. which is the best combination of both worlds. We added the median into the first turn to get the cars separated so we can start the run on the grid. And the next issue we have, and the reason why our first tournament is a 55 gram tournament, is with these super trucks, you're seeing some of these trucks getting up too high and hitting the top wall and causing some spin outs and inconsistencies. And to mitigate that, we're going to start running lighter cars in the track, still modified, they're still going to be fast, but a little bit lighter to try to mitigate that as well. And as you know, this whole track's 3D printed. 3D printed material is pretty slick, it's plastic. So while there's grooves and while it's running pretty smooth, you do get some skidding action on the track. So one other thing we're going to be adding is the straightaways are going to be, I'm testing right now using Plastidip, which is like a rubber spray that you spray on anything and it rubberizes it on the straights. So this is a Plastidip straight. It is a rubbery texture. It kind of self-levels and adds kind of a grip to the track. But the cars run perfectly fast lengthwise, but if they get sideways, they will not run fast. So in hopes, the rubberized material will keep the cars going straight and not have them skidding out as they come out of turns. It'll hold them straight. So I'm experimenting with straights with the Plastidip on here. The goal is to start from the bottom up. This might slow the cars down just a little bit because it is kind of a rubbery texture. That's probably a good thing actually. I won't Plastidip the dual lanes. I probably won't Plastidip the first straightaway, but I'll probably Plastidip the rest, which might be nice because if it slows the cars down a little bit further down the track, the cars will stay at more of a consistent speed instead of picking up more and more and more speed as they go down the spiral. So that's another thing we're going to switch out. That result of that will be coming soon. We'll find out. And then once we get the track all tuned in, we're going to set an official track record time because after that the track won't be changing. It'll be staying for a long time. And yeah, that's about it. That's all the updates I have for now. This track has been amazing to build. It's been exciting to launch. It's been exciting to see people's reactions. Even though we had a couple people that are just, they clearly have some personal issues that feel the need to put me down and say things on this track. But that stuff doesn't bother me. You know, I do this for me. I love the diecast. I think that shows in the Facebook group and through my YouTube channel. Is I just genuinely love diecast. I'm gonna build this track is for me, right? Like I wanted to perform the best, but like what you guys don't see is me running cars in here and just like having the time of my fucking life. So say what you want about the track. Love it, hate it, but I love it, and this is one of many, right? I had Candy Mountain. We had, Rainier Rally, then it turned to Rainier Rally Cross, now the Big O. And what you don't know is I built the full track before the Big O, but I had this idea and tore the other track down before I put the diorama together. So that track might come back to life eventually. Candy Mountain might come back to life eventually. I know that track was not loved by some, but it might be reborn in a different format, different altogether, but I love the fantasy of it. So who knows? Anyways, I'm gonna sign off now. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it this long, I really appreciate that. And drop a comment. Let me know what you think. If you're gonna be an asshole, that's fine too. I'll just ignore it. So thanks guys. We'll see you in the next one.